Welcome in. It's time for another edition of the Morning Espresso here on the SDH Network, presented by Oglethorpe University, Atlanta's premier undergraduate learning experience and soccer powerhouse. I'm Jason Longshore. This is all the soccer news you need to know for Tuesday, February 25th. Let's start with the MLS Team of the Match Day and Player of the Match Day. That was named yesterday, and the 26-year-old Danish international winger, Anders Dreyer of San Diego FC. He was named the Player of the Match Day, a brace in his inaugural game for the club's inaugural game. It was the first time a player has scored multiple goals in a club's inaugural game since Eric Hasley of the Vancouver Whitecaps in 2011. Rest of the team of the match day joining Dreyer in goal: Zach Steffen, defenders Brian Ceballos, Miles Robinson, and Rodriguez of San Jose, Diego Rossi, Brian Gutierrez, Boris Enau, and Jaden Nelson in the midfield, and alongside Dreyer up top, Lionel Messi and Latte of Atlanta. All right, let's talk a little bit about a market in terms of this hemisphere that has become valuable for Major League Soccer. That's Brazil. On the eve of the season, two more players were sold to Brazilian clubs: Santiago Rodriguez and Micael of Houston. Rodriguez, formerly of NYC, he went to Botafogo for $15 million, not including add ons. We've talked about Botafogo looking for replacements for Thiago Almada, who's now at Lyon in France. They were connected to Benjamin Rollheiser of Benfica at one point. They were connected to quite a few different players. They get the deal done here with Rodriguez for a large amount of money. Remember as well, Orlando City sold Facundo Torres to Palmeiras, another large amount of money, a record payment for Orlando City. Micael, a record haul for Houston, around $6 million, according to reports out of Brazil. Look, this is only going to continue for a couple reasons. The Brazilian market right now, in terms of how much money their clubs have to spend, is pretty good. You got Corinthians looking at adding some pretty big sponsors domestically right now. A lot of clubs are flush with cash. But also, I think the other side is the reputation of Major League Soccer is dramatically changing. Botafogo is a prime example of that. They won the Brazilian League. They won the Copa Libertadores last year. They had three players signed from MLS teams earlier in the year: Thiago Almada, Gregory, and Jefferson Savarino. You're going to see when that happens and a club has success with guys coming from MLS, you're going to see more clubs in that league spend money on players from MLS. Brazil is an interesting market buyer for Major League Soccer right now. And look, we'll see how long that continues, but it is a good source of revenue for Major League Soccer clubs right now. Let's move over to the NWSL. Adrianna Leon of Aston Villa coming back to the NWSL. She's joining the San Diego Wave. Seventh NWSL team. She bounced around in the early days of the league quite a bit. 11th team in her 13-year pro career. Played in college at Notre Dame and at Florida. Scored the deciding goal in Canada's shootout win over Sweden in the gold medal match in the 2020 Olympics. And she has been in the NWSL for 7 years. She went first with West Ham, then to Manchester United for a season, and now to Villa for 2 seasons before coming to San Diego to rejoin the NWSL. All right, I said it yesterday that the big game in Turkey yesterday, Galatasaray and Fenerbahce, was not going to go quietly. Jose Mourinho is involved, and Jose Mourinho is the reason why it is not going quietly, even though they brought in a referee from another country, because he's been very insulting to Turkish referees. Now, both clubs in this game wanted a referee from another country. They got that. Uh, Galatasaray are accusing Mourinho, who manages Fenerbahce, of making racist statements after the game. Fenerbahce saying his comments were deliberately distorted. He had been fined and suspended earlier in the season. He went on a tirade about local match officials in the league. Um, in a statement after the game, Galatasaray said that Mourinho has, quote, persistently issued derogatory statements directed towards the Turkish people. Today, his discourse has escalated. We hereby formally declare our intention to initiate criminal proceedings concerning the racist statements made by Jose Mourinho and shall accordingly submit official complaints to UEFA and FIFA. So, in his post-match interview, Mourinho was happy about the decision to bring in the foreign referee. He praised the referee, Slavko Vincic of Slovenia, for a top performance. Mourinho said he'd gone to see the referee and thank him. After the game, he saw the fourth official, who was a Turkish referee, and Mourinho said he told him, this is Mourinho repeating what he says he told that referee, quote, "If you are the referee, would be a disaster." He was asked about a challenge early in the match. He said a Turkish referee would have reacted with a yellow card, quote, "after the big dive and their bench jumping around like monkeys," unquote. That is where the conflict is in this between Galatasaray and Fenerbahce. Good luck, Turkish Federation, in dealing with all of this. There's some serious, serious issues. And Jose Mourinho, man, what you doing at this point? Why are you doing this? You're like Reese Bobby in Talladega Nights. You just can't help but cause a problem. And I don't get it anymore. Days of being serious are just over, it seems like. Canada, their men's national team has finally, after a long time of working at this, they finally persuaded Bournemouth forward Daniel Jebison to declare for the Canadian national team. He had previously represented England at youth national team level. Let's get into some updated news this morning. An investor from the United States with links to Dell Technologies is the latest in talks to purchase Reading. This is from the Reading Chronicle. 61-year-old Robert Platek, who is with a private investment firm tied to Michael Dell of Dell Technologies. He signed an exclusivity agreement yesterday, according to the Reading Chronicle. 2019, he was part of a group trying to buy Sunderland. Didn't happen. He had purchased Spezia in Italy in 2021, sold them around 2 weeks ago. He owns Casapia in Portugal. They're in sixth place in the first division. Previously owned a club in Denmark. That didn't go well. That club got relegated. Reading confirmed on Monday that it had entered exclusive negotiations with an unnamed party and that, quote, "the structure of the deal should allow for quick completion." Jessica Charman will be very happy about this if it gets done. I don't know if we've been to this point lately in the Reading saga, but this maybe feels like you might see the light at the end of the tunnel. Good luck. We'll find out. All right. Games today. The Coupe de France is starting today. The big game there is tomorrow. You have a lot of potential upsets in the Coupe de France. Two lower division teams are still in it. Stade Briochin is a fourth division team. They are playing PSG. Stade Briochin, they eliminated Nice. They have 10 full-time staff. They have a budget of 1.1 million pounds. PSG's budget is 800 million. That's going to be an interesting one. Coupe de France starts today. That game will be tomorrow. A lot of cups today. Copa del Rey, a little bit bigger match here between Barcelona and Atleti in the semifinal. Barca 13 games unbeaten. They scored 14 goals in their last three Copa del Rey games. Atleti 8 games unbeaten. They beat Barcelona in League 2-1 earlier in the season. Lamine Yamal is expected to start, according to reports, after his bloody foot from the game against Las Palmas on the weekend. This is the second most played official match in Spanish football history. 246 times El Clasico between Barca and Real Madrid. That is the most, with 259. 47 times these teams have met in the Copa del Rey. Barca have won 22 times. Atleti 16, 9 draws. The DFB Pokal in Germany, a very interesting game with Arminia Bielefeld from the lower divisions hosting Werder Bremen. That's a 2:45 match. Coppa Italia quarterfinal, Inter versus Lazio, although both teams are talking about heavily rotating their squads. Inter will be in Naples on the weekend in a crucial league match. Premier League, you got Brighton and Bournemouth. You got Crystal Palace hosting Aston Villa, Wolves hosting Fulham, Chelsea hosting Southampton. Scotland, Celtic hosts Aberdeen. And then we get into this hemisphere. Copa Libertadores tonight, second preliminary round, second leg. Boca Juniors hosting Alianza Lima. Alianza lead that 1-0, and Boca are at risk of being out of South American competition in February. Preview of the second legs of the round coming up later this morning from the Soccer Metrics Copa Libertadores show from our friend Howard Hamilton. CONCACAF Champions Cup, Inter Miami, Sporting Kansas City. That's tonight in Fort Lauderdale. Miami has the 1-0 lead after the first leg. Then it's LAFC hosting Colorado Rapids. Rapids have the 2-1 lead after the first leg. That'll be a very interesting matchup. I think both of them are interesting. Miami and Kansas City could be a little better game than some are thinking it'll be. High school coverage for us on the SDH Network, that continues, presented by Kaiser Permanente. Riverwood visiting Midtown. Doubleheader starts with the girls' match at 6 p.m. You can listen on our Mixler channel or by visiting soccerdownhere.net. Click the listen link at the top of the page. Morning show starts at 9:05 with John Nelson. Guests coming in to talk about all things soccer, maybe updates on Reading, maybe updates on other things going on, maybe an update on Lamine Yamal's foot. Jose Mourinho might say more wild, crazy things. He might get arrested. Everything's in play right now as you look around the world of soccer. Thank you for listening or reading or watching another edition of the Espresso. Tonight, I'll be live on 92.9 The Game at 10 o'clock for Atlanta Soccer tonight. So no Espresso tomorrow morning. You'll be able to listen to AST if you don't catch it live. And then I'll be back with some more Espresso for you on Thursday on the SDH Network.